Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another European show. Delighted to welcome Sean back on. Sean, how are you doing? The tash is gone actually, I just realised.
Yeah, it's gone now. Yeah, no, they told me it was a bit too unprofessional, so
Ah,
I gotta keep up standards.
very
Uh,
disappointed. Someone in the comments last time out actually wanted to give it a rating
I
beyond the
saw
10.
I saw the positive reception for the Tash, and I was a little bit disappointed now to go off. But look, it'll grow back.
Mm,
So look, if the positive reception keeps up, I'll definitely keep it. Yeah,
Give the
absolutely.
people what they want and all that, you
Give
know
the
what I mean?
people what they want. We are the people's channel, of course. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Shamrock Rovers were beaten 2-0 at home to Sparta Prague in the Champions League first leg at Talas Stadium. And look, it pretty much went to how I think we more or less
Mm.
expected to. We were hoping that maybe, they'd get a more positive result. The performance itself, I don't think was too bad. It's just you're coming up against such a good side. And the first 20 minutes, like I thought Rovers were fine, but they gave away a very disappointing goal where they were playing across the back basically, and you could kind of tell you're watching. It was like a car crash, that kind of
Mm.
way. I could
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
watching it. I think I said, "Oh no!" Like before a goal was scored. Dylan Watson plays a pass across. They intercepted well. Pico clears off the line, but doesn't get a full connection on it, and Sparta Prague take the lead. And just think to yourself that they're a good side, but you kind of handed them a goal. I think it's very difficult for our clubs, Sean,
Mm.
to play across the back in Europe, to be honest with you,
Mm.
because they're usually a bit quicker. They're usually the pressing is usually a bit more on point, let's say.
Mm.
And it was disappointing to see the goal that way. The second half goal from Weisner probably wasn't great to concede either, but I think they deserved it at that point as well. Like a lot of the ball, weren't creating chance after chance, but they were quite comfortable, let's say, and you can see the differences of technical ability. Rovers struggled with that a little bit. Uh, but Rovers late in the game did have a couple of good chances, and Josh Hounahan probably should score to make it 2-1, at least give them a goal going into the second leg where he heads it
Mm.
straight at the keeper. There was another chance as well. But it's a like we thought, really, it's a mammoth task going over to
Mm.
the Czech Republic, isn't it now?
Yeah, I thought so. I don't think Rovers played too badly, but at the same time, they can't have any complaints about losing 2-0. The first goal in particular was, I mean, you're taught like from a very young age, like the cardinal rules to not play it across the face of your own goal, and that's exactly what Rovers did. I mean, when Sparta Prague scored the goal, there was three players there in the box. Any one of them could have tapped it in. It was such a cheap goal to concede, and I think Rovers would be disappointed for that reason. The second goal, yeah, I think you can argue Poles probably should have done better for the second goal, but at the same time, it was a good move from Sparta Prague and definitely not as bad to concede as the first one. And a couple of opportunities in the game were over, so I think they'll be a little bit disappointed to not take something to the Czech Republic. Uh, but yeah, look, it's as we said in the preview that like this was always going to be a massive task for Rovers, and I don't know if it had happened a different way, I'd have been a little bit less disappointed for them. But I think to concede the goals in the manner that they did was
Mm.
it was very disappointing. Yeah.
I see it was a comment. I can't remember which video it was. Maybe it was the other
Mm.
European show video. I can't remember. There was a
Mm.
comment beneath, and the same person could be watching. I don't know, but they seem to be trying to suggest we should be doing better against these clubs. But I mean,
Mm.
like this club, the squad is worth like 75 million or something like
Oh
that.
yeah.
I think people underestimate, dude. I think beyond the big
Mm.
leagues in Europe, I think a lot of people seem to
Mm.
underestimate the other leagues, like your Swiss
Mm.
leagues or your Czech
Yeah.
leagues or your,
Mm.
with the infrastructure, etc., etc.
Mm.
And like, I showed you something earlier that, in terms
Mm.
of football academies, Ireland is 24, Czech Republic is 16. And in terms of full time staff, the Czech Republic have 112, Ireland has 10 full time
Mm.
staff. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that kind of stuff,
Mm.
without going in even to the actual standard of stadiums,
Mm.
etc., etc., etc. That kind of stuff, like we're in the bottom four in Europe when it comes to the staff to academy
Mm.
kind of ratio, if you like, with Northern Ireland, Andorra, and I can't remember the other country,
Mm.
but we're in the bottom four in Europe basically, and anytime we get a result in Europe, nearly against anyone really,
Mm.
it should be seen as a success, really, shouldn't it? And it wouldn't be slating Shamrock Rovers or Shelburne or any
Mm.
other club that loses in
Mm.
Europe. Like, okay, Derry was a little bit disappointing, to be fair,
Yeah.
but in more often than not, you know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, I think so. I mean, and I think there's a tendency from, as you said, Irish football fans to underestimate continental leagues. Sparta Prague have had players coming back from the Euros. Like, I remember even a couple of years ago, Cork City played Legia Warsaw, and everyone thought, that Cork would be in with a chance. But like even at that point, Legia Warsaw had players coming back from the World Cup. It was in Russia that year, I think.
Mm.
And that just shows what we're up against, really. Like,
Mm.
these players or these clubs oftentimes have international experience, and it ties into another point. I might be getting slightly off topic with this, but when we talk about Zurich later on, we'll mention, of course, that Armstrong Okaflex plays for Zurich. He's an under 21 international at the moment. And I think there's a fixation for Irish fans that it's England or bust. Maybe if a player makes it in the Bundesliga or La Liga, or like Jacob Ryan did in Liga 1, then maybe that's acceptable. But I think we could benefit from that. Like, these clubs and these national teams, they share the players. If you've got a player at Sparta Prague, let's say, I think one of the goal scorers now, it's failing me now, but one of the goal scorers came back from Czech national duty at the Euros. They didn't do very well, but that experience is invaluable. Like, and I think he's on 28 grand a week, which is far in excess of anything that any League of Ireland team is paying. I mean, it might be bigger than the wage bill for some League of Ireland teams. Like, I think it'd be fairly easy to say.
Mm. 100%.
So yeah, I think it's interesting. I have more to say about this, and we'll save it for when we talk about other teams. But I mean, I think we have a long way to go in order to be able to compete with these teams and to be qualifying regularly for the group stage of European football, which I think Sparta Prague have a very good chance of doing.
Mm, absolutely.
Mm.
We'll move on to Zurich. And well, first of all, actually, before we finish there, I suppose, do you give any chance Shamrock Rovers in the second leg? What's a good result?
No, I mean, saving face is a good result. I think another reason to not be so despairing for Rovers is the fact that they're going to drop into the Europa League qualifying round as well. They're going to play, is it the winner of, I think, Slovan, Bratislava, and somebody else?
Yeah.
That's going to be a tough game as well. But even if they lose that, they're going into the playoff round for the Conference League, and they're going to be playing somebody who, you'd really give them a chance against. So I don't think there's any reason to despair just yet. I think, it's just a matter of saving face and to acknowledge that, look, we're off the pace at the moment. It doesn't mean we can't get there. I mean, look, 2 years ago, even, like, with the results that teams were getting, like Pats beating Celje, or no, it wasn't Celje they played. So some Slovenian team anyway.
Uh,
Uh,
sorry, Mora. I can't pronounce their name. Mora. What do you call them? Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I forget who it was anyway. But
Yeah.
there was, and Dundalk nearly got a result against Vitesse, the Eredivisie
Mm,
team and stuff like that. We can get those results. It's just a matter of getting the consistency there. And I think we're a bit off that yet, but we can work towards it. We don't need to be despairing right now. I don't think.
mm. Yeah. I probably got 2-0 Prague, to be honest with you, again, which is okay.
By the way, actually, if any loud noises like that happen during the course of the video, I live next to an airport now, so load of Irish footy blogs fans wanting to get in on the video. I think.
Moving on to, you're not going to, you weren't in Zurich, were you? FC Zurich
No.
3, Shelbourne nil, and a little disappointing, I have to say.
Mm,
Matthew in the first minute,
yeah.
Mascherano after 29
Mm,
and 58 minutes. And I think the reason why this is disappointing, I think we said 2-0 actually, but I think the reason this was
mm,
disappointing was the fact that we highlighted that whatever happened this game, Shelbourne can't concede in the first couple of minutes, and literally they did that. And look, it's all right for us to sit here and say that because I'm
mm,
sure Damien Duff would have drummed that into the players. Whatever you
mm,
do, lads, do not concede early. Let's get
mm,
the first 20 minutes, keep it tight, maybe work our way into
mm.
the game. That early goal, in my view, probably killed them, didn't
Oh, definitely it did. I mean, we said, like, that Shelburne, if they sorry.
it?
We can cut that from the video,
No,
or maybe we'll leave it in. I don't
you
know.
maybe leave it
Uh,
in.
but no, it was like uh, we said that if Shelburne could keep it tight, and that if we get 1-0, even 2-0, bring it back to Talca Park, like, they'd have some form of a chance anyway. There'd be something to play for. But yeah, I think missing Sean Gannon was a big loss. All right, his experience would have brought a lot to the game. Shelburne appeared not just in the first minute, but like throughout the whole game, and maybe the goal definitely affected that. Goals always affect
Sloppy
things
goal
like
as
that.
well, actually.
Very sloppy, yeah. But like they appeared disorganized for the whole game. Like we think of Shelburne, like and seeing them this season managing games, being very industrial in their approach, and frustrating teams. And I looked at the statistics for this game, and Zurich had 26 shots in the whole game. Shelburne had one. And like even when it came to fouls, Zurich committed 13 fouls. I think Shelburne got 6. So it's like they were even out muscled in the game. Um, Duff said it was a sobering experience, and I think he's right. I think nobody expected Shelburne to go away and get a result here, but to lose in the fashion that they did, to lose by as much as they did, things like that, and especially the goals they conceded, like because the second one as well was really poor, and I think Connor Kearns maybe could have got to the third one as well, but just a very disappointing way to lose, especially because Shelburne are, I think at least by far and away the best team in the League of Ireland this year, at least the most consistent one.
And the most
and
organised one.
and the most organized one, and they none of that showed against Zurich.
Yeah, you just wonder maybe if they got a little bit of stage fright. I know there's experience there, but all of a sudden you're going up against a side that, the club. Okay, there's players have played for other clubs, etc., and had European games and that. But as a collective, they haven't come up against a side like Zurich, and it's just different to playing any team in the League of Ireland every week. And maybe they just got a bit of a lesson there. But as you say, for the second leg, it does make it difficult. They'll want to keep that record going if possible, even if they could win the match, it'd be fantastic. Let's be real.
Oh, yeah,
like, it's unlikely they're overturning a 3-0 deficit.
Yeah.
Let's be serious about this. But, you're hoping that something similar doesn't happen at Talca. And if they could go out, maybe Zurich could be a little bit complacent after being 3-0 up. And if Shelburne could even nick a result, get a draw or even get a win, it's not bad, let's say. Even a win at home to Zurich, still a good result, even if you go out with a competition.
Oh yeah, if they win on the night, that's a great result for them. Like that's something to take. And I mean, I think that would affect their coefficient as well. Like
it does.
There'd even be a little bit to play for there, even. I think as well. You talked about maybe getting stage fright. I think that's also where a player like Sean Gannon comes in, because he's been there with Rovers and with Dundalk and all that. He's been there before. I think a lot of those players, even though they're really good, like there's not a wealth of European experience there.
A couple of games players. Here and there type thing.
A couple of games here and there, but I'm looking like, I think Paddy Barrett really is the only player I can think of in that team who has a lot of European experience going back to Dundalk. But other than that, like I think you're looking at a lot of players who are a bit green in the gills, like, and maybe it was. But if don't get embarrassed in Talca, like Zurich probably are going to be complacent. That's the fact of the matter. They're going to be playing league games in between this. They're going to be complacent. You should take the opportunity, try and win the game at home. Forget it. Pretend it's no cliche, but pretend it's 0-0. Pretend it's 0-0 and go and try and win the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose we have to touch on this, Sean. Shelburne have been hit with €21,250 fine by UEFA for the conduct of their supporters in their Europa Conference League trip to Gibraltar earlier this month, with chance declaring that the British overseas territory belongs to Spain, the primary cause for the punishment. Surprised by this?
Yeah, I heard there was a comment on the video we did about this in the review for the second leg of the first round, seeming to suggest that Shelburne fans were maybe violent or disorderly in the build-up to the game, which is what actually led to the fine. But the fact that UEFA came out and said that this is the primary cause of the fine, I mean, to me, it's ridiculous. I understand there's other fan cultures, maybe particularly in Eastern Europe, where this kind of sort of inflammatory language would, lead to actual violence. But I mean, here you've got to review it by a case basis. There's nobody died, nobody got hurt. There was you had the St. Joseph's players giving it back, or management giving it back to the Shelburne fans. Like, as far as I'm concerned, like that's where it ends. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe a slap on the wrist, like, say don't do this again. But to hit them with so much, it's ridiculous. It's really, really ridiculous. Like, and if anyone thinks it's going to stop this kind of behavior, like, what are Shelburne supposed to do? Like, ban all those fans from Talca Park?
That's what I was thinking when I seen it. I said, like, if that's the case, the can of worms scenario is what can any club do? Like, where do you stop? It's kind of
Yeah.
like no chanting. Do you know?
No,
Because
yeah,
any chanting in
yeah,
stadiums, as you know
yeah.
yourself, is provocative
Mm.
anyway.
But I'm getting to the like. I mean, and this is sort of like I'm getting my tin. I'll have to get my tinfoil hat now for this now. But I think UEFA want sort of an NFL experience basically at European games. That's what they're going for. Like a family friendly thing. I've been to NFL games before. Everybody sits in. There can be atmosphere at those games, but it's different. European fan culture and American fan culture are different, and they're trying to appeal to that market. There's talk that they're going to hold the Champions League final in New York or something like that. It won't be different. I mean, it's so different, and you're taking the game away from those people like
This
who
isn't
went to.
abuse or violence. Like, let's be
I
real.
know nobody got hurt. Like if
And
like
it's not even
yeah,
like, I mean, I don't know. It's more of a banter thing, to be
it
honest with you.
is
To
like
be honest with
look,
you, the
yeah,
Gibraltars probably, if they didn't make such a fuss out of it, it probably doesn't happen. This
no,
fine.
absolutely not. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen if Gibraltar don't make such a fuss out of it.
Mm.
And it's one time. It's one time. Like those two teams may never play each other again.
Do you know what? I'd love if they met next year.
If they met next year, that would be really really funny. Um, it would certainly
It'd be
be very
brilliant.
interesting. I might fly over to
I might
Gibraltar
fly,
for the game
everyone would be flying
if that
over.
happened. Yeah, but it'll certainly be very interesting. But look, like if it was every week, like okay, maybe you'd say something. But like this is a one-off incident. Like yeah,
No, absolutely. Be interested to see what Shelbourne fans think about it, or even League of Ireland fans generally, to be honest. Finally, then, at least we got a win to talk about, Sean. Not going to lie, I'm delighted
mm.
about this one. St.
Oh yeah,
Patrick's Athletic, it's been a tough season. St. Patrick's Athletic
mm.
3, Vaduz 1, Mulroney on 6, 17, Del Toro on 65, and Joe Redmond on 77 minutes.
Mm.
And I was at this one as well, and very good performance by Pats. Very good
Mm.
performance. People might say they should be beating Vaduz, but I'll come
Mm.
back to. I don't think if Pats don't play well, they don't win this game. It's as simple as that, And I think it was a really, really good performance. Mulroney's free kick in 6 minutes was just brilliant free kick. He scored again in 17.
Mm.
And I did a vlog on this, but I mentioned at the start of the vlog how infuriating Mulroney actually is because technically and ability wise, he's one of the best players in the league. But he doesn't show it often enough. But he certainly did show it in this game. His whole performance was very good. Palmer was very good in the middle of the park for Pats as well. He set up one and he was fouled for the free kick. But overall, it was just an excellent front-footed performance. They could have won by more, if I'm honest with you. They'll be disappointed with the goal they gave away. Their keeper makes a very good save from Bolger and Gravosti, actually, too. And Ang does make one good save from a long-range effort as well. But overall, very, very good performance for Pats, and they give themselves an excellent chance um, to go over the Vaduz and get a result and hopefully go through to the next round now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wistfully said in the preview for this that this could be the game that Kenny's that sort of turns it around for Kenny because he hasn't had a good start, but you're starting to see his players be put into the side, his imprint being put on it. Like he's got players now, and Ang is in the side, Eddie's in the side. Keating is gone actually just today,
It
so you're
looks
starting
like,
to
I don't
see.
know by the time this video comes out, but it looks like
Oh no,
Aidan
it's been
Keena.
announced. It's been
Oh, it's been
Aidan Keena,
announced.
yes.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
No, sorry, not Aidan Keena. No, no,
No, yeah, it looks like
Keaton,
Aidan Keane is coming in as well, but yeah.
Yeah. No, but yeah, no, you're starting to see his influence being put in the team, and I mean, it was the best. It was the best of Kenny Ball being put on display on Thursday. I really couldn't believe actually how well the start went, but particularly Mulroney's first free kick. Like everyone says it about him. Like that's what he can do. He was being paid something like 350 grand a year at Orlando City in the MLS. That's why really he's got
Oh,
that in
he
his
should be
locker.
lighting up the league, to be
He
honest.
really should.
Mm.
He really should. But look, you'd love. Obviously you love players to turn up for every game. But if you get a
That's
player who turns up for a big game like this is worth a lot of money to Pats if they get through. And they've got
350 grand, I think, isn't it, if they get through, yeah.
it's something
Something
like
like that.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's big money anyway. It's more than you get for winning the league, and
Twice
uh,
over. Three
twice
times
over.
over nearly.
And that's not even counting like the fees you get for like the sold out Richmond Park you're going to get for a European night. And it's a really complete performance from Pats. Really did well. I don't like 2 goal leads. I'm very sort of cautious about 2 goal leads and going away in the second leg. Like it's certainly not a done deal.
No,
I
it's not
think
a done deal,
Kenny.
but of course you don't have
No,
that away goal issue now, don't you not?
well, you don't know.
Which
That's
I
an
think
interesting
I
thing.
like the away
Yeah,
goal, to be honest. But
I did, but
mm,
you know, look, it's going to benefit Pats this time round. The fact that there is no away goal, but you know, look, Kenny came out, and you know, he was very sensible in his interview. Said like, you know, it's half time now. You know, we've got another 90 minutes to do. But I think you know, obviously, you want to win every game, and you put yourself in an excellent position to go through to the next round. So you know, really delighted from as a League of Ireland fan that at least one team won this week.
yeah, as for the second leg, I think again the old cliche, but
Mm,
it is vital that Pats don't concede early and give them
yeah.
an early boost, you know, because Pats
Mm,
did open them up at will at times, and they look like they
mm,
can be hitting the counter attack as well. So even if Pats go over and be patient, the opportunities are there. And
yeah.
your mate El Bazzetti, who was a little rusty, but you could clearly
Mm.
see he's direct, and he was like that before.
Oh yeah.
He's trying to
Mm,
get in behind the defense, something
yeah.
that Pats don't really have out wide with
No.
that type of player. So there's an
Yeah.
opportunity for him to do that. I think in the second leg as well. He'll take
Absolutely.
he'll take a while to get his fitness up, but
If he, but yeah, but if he gets a yard on a defender, like you know, he's gone. Like
yeah.
that's what he did best when he was down here. Like yeah.
No,
Mm,
100%. So the opportunities will be there to score goals in the second leg, but Vaduz will, after having a good look at Pats now, and you know they'll be Pats will have to perform. To be honest, like again, like I
mm,
mean, there's some performances Pats have had the last few weeks where Vaduz probably beat them if they play like
mm.
that.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to perform. It'd probably be seen as a bigger disappointment if they went out now. That's the only
Oh
thing.
yeah.
But as
Mm,
you say, the tie is far from over.
mm. Yeah, I think so. I think it's especially important with you know, look, this I think this does cancel out the disappointment of Derry losing in the last round. I think that that's why it's important. I think I'm looking at this from,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
obviously because my team aren't in Europe at the
Mm,
moment, that I'm looking at this from a league perspective.
mm,
As much as it's been the case that I think that last year and this year haven't been great years, they've sort of shown up the League of Ireland shortcomings. We've got, you know, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, some very impressive results. You've got the likes of Rovers getting to the Conference League group stages, Dundalk getting to the Europa League. Um,
mm.
I think
Rovers playing AC Milan.
Rovers playing AC Milan, stuff
Unfortunately, in
like
the
that.
COVID year, which is disappointing. But
Yeah, very disappointing from that
mm,
perspective.
mm,
But you know, it's a matter of I often wonder, like, I think that the league as a whole has gotten better. I think you look at it, the scene domestically. I think the league has gotten better as a whole. The
mm,
worst teams, compared to I think when Waterford first went up, it wasn't very difficult to compete at the top, or it
mm,
wasn't very difficult to compete against like the 6 or 7 teams at the bottom. It
mm.
was the top 2 or 3 teams were very good.
There's a leveling off a bit, isn't there?
It is leveling off, but I think where I'm concerned is that the best teams aren't getting better. I think if you had the Dundalk team from the Kenny years, or if you had even the Cork City team in
Mm.
2017 with Sean McGuire, I think those teams would probably win the league this year.
Is that because though the better teams with the more money, obviously with the more money, we're
Mm,
all getting all the best players, but now you have 5 or 6 clubs you could argue right
mm.
now with decent money, you
Yeah,
know, who are ambitious as
mm.
well. So that means there's a better spread, bigger spread on the good players. Therefore, you're not going to get
Yeah.
a really top team, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
It could be, yeah. I mean, you know, you had stages there back in those days where if there was a player who was any bit good, he was going to Dundalk, he was going to
Mm.
Cork, he was going to Rovers. That
Yeah.
was it. There was no one else. There was no one else getting him. And this year, you know, you've got. I mean, Tim Clancy came out and said recently that there was teams that weren't even in the picture for Europe, paying 2 or 3 grand a week for players.
Mm.
And you look at the likes of, say, even we're getting a bit off topic from Europe, but like Bowes, for instance, getting Dawson Devoy and Ross Tierney back. That's a like I definitely say that kind of money's being thrown around. And you know, Pats, for instance, it looks. I mean, it's not unlikely. It's not totally out of the picture yet because the league is so tight. But you have to say they're outsiders to get into Europe again this year, unless they win the cup. Or no, wait, they're out of the cup. Sorry, but no.
That was well rehearsed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very well rehearsed. Yeah, this is the level of
Yeah.
research and
Yeah.
that I
I
do
don't think
produce.
they're likely to get into
No, but
Europe if I'm honest with you. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, but you know, they're like, you know, Keane is not going to be cheap. Elvis Eddie's I don't think was cheap. Joseph Anang, not cheap. Amin Al Kazim, those players not cheap. But there's long term projects being built there, I think. But I think I'm just I think we can be doing better in Europe in 2 or 3 years' time if we keep the way we're going. I'm a little bit disappointed that we're not there now
Mm,
because I think with the way we were going back in those days, going back like 6 years, I would have expected that we'd have at least one team getting to the group stages regularly of
mm,
European football, especially with the Conference League being introduced, and it hasn't quite happened yet. So, for every result counts. So if Pat's beating Vaduz, that's going to be good for whoever wins the cup this year.
mm. Yeah.
And if I mean, and talk about the other results, if Shells beat Zurich at home, or if Rovers, I mean, I don't
Even
think
if
they
they
are
nick
going
the
to.
draw, let's
If they
say,
nick the draw, even let's say, like
in
and
a
like
leg, like
maybe
yeah.
maybe they do very well in their Europa League game against whoever they're playing. It all counts. It all
It
counts
does.
towards putting the league in better position. You're playing weaker teams, then you give new teams then because it looks like there's going to be one or two teams competing in Europe that weren't there before. It gives every team a better chance to increase the league's profile and bring more money in as well
Yeah.
with prize money. Mm.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Yeah, absolutely, Sean. Sean, thanks for coming on. Great input as
Mm.
usual. Guys at home, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Be interested to know your thoughts on any of the talking points, really. Subscribe to the
Mm.
channel, and we'll see you again. Thank you.